this is a whole nother type of archery, right? From the reactive side, true freedom occurs when the arrows of blame are caught in mid-flight before they reach their target. So we're looking, and as far as purification of this emotional body we're talking about, we're looking for those temptations to have whatever you're feeling or experiencing be about somebody else causing it. And we don't even realize we do this stuff sometimes. Somebody was telling me the other day, this woman, I stubbed my toe because he told me not to wear, oh, no, that's not why you stubbed your toe. Well, you actually stubbed, what toe is it? Oh, it's your right foot on your masculine side and it's your big toe? Okay, well, I got a whole nother message for you there, but it has nothing to do with blaming anybody about anything. There's always a message and a sign and a symbol to anything that happens to us. And so it's all in our interpretation and our attitude and our way of looking at it. That's it. And we can really have some fun with this. And we can even maybe start to laugh at ourselves at the grandma, grandpa stories and the old tendencies that we might have had and old traditional ways of responding to things, and then to be able to pull the rainbow and the glitter into our experience here. And not take shit so serious all the time. Really pay attention to that. And at the end of the day, no matter what, if you can remind yourself that you came here to have fun. I have a song I like to sing. Ooh, we came to have fun. It's a little trippy forest song that came in one day to remind me, we came to have fun. When you're getting serious about shit, remind yourself you came to have fun and loosen it up. And immediately we can start to kind of like work through intensities or densities in our body, or mainly constrictions in our heart. And sometimes we can feel constrictions here. And you blast through that stuff, through movement, through song, through sound, through laughing. When you catch yourself in those things where you're becoming the victim of the energies, of the emotions, you just go, wait a minute, I don't have to play it like that, even if I have before. And then you take it one step further to the mental plane, and you start to become very aware of the stories you tell yourself about anyone, anything, or even the way that you feel. And you ask yourself if those types of stories that you've told yourselves are worth telling yourself anymore, and that maybe if you were willing to become aware of the stories you tell yourself and to let some of them go, or maybe rewrite some of them, such as everything happens perfectly for me exactly as it's supposed to, and I'm the creator of my reality. Those are the types of things I like to remind myself of always. Simple programming information. This is beyond I am worthy. We're shifting from needing that external affirmation from anyone else to tell us we're worthy or beautiful or important. Those things can be nice, but what we're really looking for is full embodiment within the self and no codependency or affirmation needed from the other. When we can get to that place of uniting within the self in that way, a whole nother world and a whole nother form of human relationships starts to come together, a transcendent way of how we work with relationship and true co-creation. So we are looking for those last aspects of the self that, and even what we're talking about here, I trust that we're all here to talk about this because this is what keeps coming in. You know, it's eventually leaving the healing story behind so we can really move into the new creation story. So if we've been in the arts for a while and we've heard healing, we've been healers even, it's been around for so long, eventually there's a reality where we won't need modalities anymore. Could you imagine a reality where it's not about business anymore or even having to work to make money so that we could live, but it actually is a civilization and a reality where, and I'm bringing in a visionary here, Jose Arguelles, who was bringing in the galactic Maya information and the prophecy of the new time, which is what we're talking about here. Jose Arguelles. Time is art. We're transitioning from a time is money to a time is art frequency. And so we're imagining, if we could, as a future civilization that humanity hasn't been to yet, but that we're now unfolding and co-creating together, where we're supported in our arts. And that could be as simple as bringing a balance and equilibrium to financial systems, which is the intention. One of the things that I believe is coming to then support us not having to think about things like, how do I serve humanity? Because if we're still motivated by the need, the pressure, the fear of survival, the need to make money to live, to survive, in order to, and monetizing the gifts, like eventually I have a vision that we don't have to do that, everything loosens up and the money and the resources are going around, and there are communities and there are places where anyone can access these resources, healing resources or advanced information. Anyways, that's a whole nother story. But here we are. I won't go too far into that for now. But maybe you guys are all a part of what I'm talking about here, which is kind of a co-creative community where high frequency beings are living and they have their gifts, but it's not, but we're not, we're out of a business world of sorts, you could say. That is the eventual, the Siddhic frequency of these stories. And all of us we're multidimensional beings, and so all of us are experiencing different dimensions of this reality, different dimensions of time simultaneously. But as I'm talking about creating this future world, which that's what I'm talking about. Eventually, work is not a thing. It's just expression of art. Let me bring you back to a vision, since we were talking about DaVinci and the art that he did bring in. One of the reasons he was able to bring in that type of art is there was a specific man, maybe many, that had the financial support to make sure that DaVinci could do his work. He had the canvas and he had every tool that he needed. And so he was able to create that art. Well, this art is not limited to DaVinci necessarily, right? But also the point is, if he's a starving artist that's like finding his way to support his art, he never got to touch that thing. Well, that's each and every one of us. There's this artist within us. It might not be painting a picture. It could be something completely different. Whatever it is that you're good at, there you have a mastery level of yourself within that field that's dying to be unlocked here. And so when we're not consumed by the fear and the survival of that world, now these things come out and create magic, and we're here to turn those things on. When you pulled the 18, well, no, it made me think of the 16, which was about mastery. There's this gene key, Karen, you have it, I know. The 16 in the highest level talks about mastery. Let's see what the shadow of it is. It's keeping us from understanding what this is. It's talking about turning on your magical genius. It's the shadow of indifference. Okay, so it's the shadow of us playing in the funny game of us being separate from one another. And so when we can transcend the shadow of indifference, we can eventually get into what's called mastery. And it's the idea of, we've all heard these stories of, let's say someone that never played piano and the next day, like, they're playing advanced piano, or a painter that was never a painter and all of a sudden they can paint. So imagine that you have some kind of advanced understanding within yourself that hasn't been turned on yet, that's being turned on. And it has to do with the open heart. You've got to do that first to turn on the technology to access what I'm talking about here. Imagine something like in the Matrix, when he downloads a program and becomes like a, kung fuer, right? But it's instantaneous. He's able to download the whole program. This is exactly why I still haven't studied Spanish. I've been waiting for it to just kind of like, just bloop, come in there. But I'm also creating a new language, and it's not Spanish or English, and so I've been working on that. It's telepathy. It's transmission through energy fields and our auric field communication. And this is what Eduardo and I were learning when we got together. And he barely knew English at the moment we met. And even now, we just kind of have our own customized language that's become whatever it is, Spanglish, mostly him learning some English. And it works, because we're speaking on a level far beyond language and words. And that is what tantric energy is really about.